The battle is over, and that's why I trained my mind as fiercely as I trained my body. I honed it like a blade, cutting away all hesitation, making it stronger than fear, stronger than pain, stronger than failure. I was never the biggest or the strongest. I didn't have the luxury of brute force. But strength isn't just in the muscles. It's in the mind. A weak mind will break before the body ever does. That's why I made my mind unbreakable. When my body wanted to stop, my mind pushed forward. When pain screamed at me to quit, my mind silenced it. I've seen people lose before they even stepped into the fight, not because they lacked skill or preparation, but because they let doubt take root. They hesitated. They questioned themselves. They feared failure. And in that hesitation, they lost before the first punch was thrown. They had already surrendered. Not me. I made a decision, one I lived by every single day. I will never quit, no matter what. There was no second thought, no hesitation. When I faced obstacles, I didn't ask, "Can I overcome this?" I told myself, "I will overcome this." There was no other option. And that's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's the decision. The decision to keep going, no matter what. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. You either commit or you don't. You either decide to be unstoppable, or you allow yourself to be defeated. The truth is, most people quit long before they truly fail. They give up when things get hard. They step back when fear whispers in their ear. They look for excuses instead of pushing forward. But those who refuse to quit, they are the ones who become great. So ask yourself right now, have you already lost in your mind, or have you made the decision to keep going, no matter what? There was a moment when I was forced to lie still, helpless. The doctor said I might never kick again. I laughed. Pain is something every warrior must face. It doesn't ask for permission, and it doesn't wait for you to be ready. One day, I was at my peak, stronger, faster, more skilled than ever. The next, I was lying in bed, unable to move. I injured my back in 1970 while lifting weights. A mistake, a miscalculation, and suddenly everything I had worked for seemed to be slipping away. The pain was unbearable. I could barely stand, let alone train. The doctors came in, looked at me, and told me what no fighter ever wants to hear. "Bruce, you might never kick again." Can you imagine what that feels like? To hear that the thing that defines you, the thing you've dedicated your life to, might be taken away forever? To be told that your body has limits, that you must accept weakness? Most people would have given in at that moment. They would have taken those words as truth. They would have let fear take over, let doubt sink in, let pain control them. But I refused. I looked at the ceiling for hours, alone with my thoughts, and I asked myself, who decides my limits? The doctors? The injury? The pain? None of them. I decide. I refused to accept their words as my fate. If my body was broken, then I would rebuild it. If I couldn't move, then I would train my mind. If I couldn't kick, then I would find another way. But one thing was certain. I was not done. Not even close. Most people think strength is in the body, but true strength is in the mind. My mind was already preparing for battle long before my body was healed. While I was lying in that bed, I wasn't resting. I was training. I read. I wrote. I planned. I visualized. I saw every kick, every movement, every strike in my head so clearly that when I finally got up, it was like I had never stopped. And when the time came, I didn't just recover, I came back stronger. Because pain is not the end. Setbacks are not defeat. The only way you truly lose is if you accept it. The injury could have broken me. The words of the doctors could have become my reality. But I made a choice. I would not let pain define me. I would not let fear stop me. People will tell you that you can't, that you're done, that your time is over. And when they do, you have two choices. You can believe them, or you can prove them wrong. I chose to prove them wrong, and so can you. People watched my movements and called me fast. But I was not fast. I was in control of time. People always asked me, "Bruce, how are you so fast?" They thought it was magic, some natural gift that allowed me to move before my opponent could even react. But the truth is, speed is not just about movement. It's not just about training your body to be quick. It's about training your mind to be ahead. Speed is an illusion. It's not about reacting faster than your opponent. It's about never needing to react at all. It's about knowing what will happen before it happens. Most fighters wait. They hesitate. They see an opening, and then decide to strike. But by the time they make that decision, it's already too late. They are thinking when they should be moving. I trained my mind to remove hesitation. There was no delay, no second thought, no doubt. The moment I saw an opportunity, I was already moving. My body followed my mind without resistance, without question. That is true speed. But how do you reach that level? How do you train your mind to eliminate hesitation? First, you must understand this. Your thoughts slow you down. The more you think, the slower you become. Most people hesitate because they are afraid of making a mistake. They analyze, they calculate, they question their own actions, and in that moment of hesitation, they lose. I removed that hesitation by training one move 1,000 times until it became part of me, until my body no longer needed to ask my mind for permission. It simply acted. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. This is the secret. It's not about knowing more techniques. It's not about having more options. It's about drilling the fundamentals until they are as natural as breathing. Because when something is truly a part of you, there is no hesitation. When I was younger, I would spend hours striking the air, punching water, kicking in slow motion to perfect my form. I watched animals move, studied the fluidity of a snake, the sudden strike of a tiger. They did not think. They did not hesitate. They simply acted. That is what I wanted to achieve. And then there is something even deeper. The way you see time itself. Most people see time as something they must keep up with. They feel pressure to react quickly, to move faster than their opponent. But I never tried to keep up with time. I controlled it. I trained myself to slow down my perception of the world. I would watch a punch come toward me, and instead of panicking, I would see every detail. How the opponent's shoulder moved, how their eyes shifted, how their weight changed. And in that moment, time slowed down for me. This is not something you are born with. This is something you develop. It comes from endless repetition, from sharpening your awareness, from trusting your instincts. Most people chase speed, but speed is not something you chase. It is something that comes when you stop hesitating, when you stop fearing, when you train yourself to move without thought. The next time you want to be faster, don't just train your body, train your mind. Remove hesitation, master the basics, and control time instead of letting it control you. Because the fastest person is not the one who moves first. It's the one who moves at the right moment, without a single wasted thought. Do you know the greatest enemy I ever faced? It wasn't a man. It wasn't an opponent in the ring. It wasn't someone stronger or faster than me. It was something far more dangerous, my own emotions. People think the strongest fighters are the ones who punch the hardest, the ones who move the fastest, the ones who train the longest. But I have seen the greatest fighters in the world crumble. Not because they lacked skill or strength, but because they let their emotions take control. I have seen anger destroy warriors. I have seen fear make a man freeze in front of his opponent. I have seen doubt weaken even the strongest body. Most people believe emotions are uncontrollable. They think anger comes, and they must obey it. They think fear rises, and they must surrender to it. But I never allowed my emotions to control me. I controlled them. I mastered them. Because in a fight, the moment you lose control of your emotions, you have already lost. Think about it. When a man fights with anger, what happens? He swings wildly. He loses focus. His movements become reckless, predictable, easy to counter. He is fighting not with skill, but with rage. And rage is a blindfold. It makes you miss the details, the openings, the precision required to win. Fear is just as dangerous. Fear makes you hesitate. Fear makes you slow. Fear makes you overthink until the opportunity is gone. I have watched fighters step into the ring full of doubt. Their bodies were strong. Their techniques were sharp. But in their mind, they were already defeated. And so, they lost. I trained myself differently. I did not fight against emotion. I learned to use it. When anger rose within me, I did not let it take over. I focused it, sharpened it into determination, into precision. My emotions did not control me. I controlled them. When fear crept into my mind, I welcomed it. I let it sharpen my senses, heighten my awareness, but I never let it stop me. When frustration came, I did not let it break my focus. I let it push me harder, drive me further. This is the difference between an ordinary fighter and a true warrior. An ordinary fighter lets emotions dictate his actions. A true warrior dictates his emotions. But mastering emotions is not just about fighting. It's about life. How many people ruin opportunities because they let anger control them? How many give up on their dreams because fear tells them they will fail? How many let frustration break them instead of using it to make them stronger? The greatest battle is not against another person. It is not against the world. The greatest battle is within yourself. And if you cannot master yourself, you will never master anything else. So when you feel anger, do not let it blind you. When you feel fear, do not let it paralyze you. When you feel doubt, do not let it defeat you. Because the strongest person is not the one who fights with brute force. The strongest person is the one who fights with complete control. Master your emotions, and you will master your destiny. People said, "Bruce, you're at the peak of your abilities." I said, "There is no peak, only more to climb." Most people live inside a cage. They do not see the bars, but they are there, built from the limits they have accepted. Limits set by society, limits set by others, but worst of all, limits set by themselves. I never accepted limits. I never saw a wall that could not be broken, a barrier that could not be overcome. And because I believed that, I proved it true. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is, "I have reached my limit." No, you have not. You have only reached the edge of what you think is possible. There's always more. I did not wake up one day able to move like lightning. I did not start as a master. I built myself step by step, day by day, never accepting that I had reached the top. Because the moment you think you are done growing is the moment you start dying. I watched people train hard, push themselves, reach a certain level, and then stop. They told themselves, "This is enough." But enough for who? Enough for what? To be comfortable? To impress others? To fit inside the world's expectations? That was not enough for me. I did not train to be good. I trained to be limitless. Limits are not real. They are beliefs, and beliefs can be changed. I remember the first time I tried to do a 1-inch punch. The power wasn't there. My hand moved, but the impact was weak. Someone else might have said, "This is impossible." But I did not stop. I trained my mind to remove the idea of distance. I studied every movement, every inch of my body, every ounce of energy. And eventually, I generated power in a way most people could not understand. But here is the truth. It was never impossible. It was only impossible until I figured out how to do it. Most people stop before they ever reach their true potential. They hit a challenge and say, "I can't do this." I say, "How can I do this?" They struggle and say, "Maybe this isn't for me." I say, "This is just part of the process." The mind will try to convince you to stop. It will whisper that you are tired, that you are not good enough, that you should accept where you are. I never listened to that voice. I replaced it with my own. Every time I mastered a technique, I searched for a way to improve it. Every time I pushed my body to its limit, I pushed further. Every time I reached the top of a mountain, I looked for another one to climb. Because I knew there is no finish line. The moment you stop challenging yourself, you start fading away. The moment you believe in limits, they become real. Do not let the world tell you who you are. Do not let society put you in a box. And most of all, do not let your own mind trick you into stopping. You are capable of more than you know. But you will never find out unless you refuse to stop. So I ask you, will you accept limits or will you destroy them? The world will tell you who to be. Your job is to refuse. From the moment you are born, the world tries to shape you. It tries to tell you what you can and cannot do, who you should be, what you should believe. It builds a path for you, a road that is safe, predictable, and ordinary. Most people follow it without question. They do what they are told. They live within the limits placed on them. They never ask, "Is this truly who I am?" I was never one of those people. I refused to let the world define me. I refused to accept that I had to fit into a mold that was never made for me. When I came to America, people told me I would never succeed. "You're too small. You're Asian. Hollywood will never accept you." They tried to write my story before I even had the chance to live it. But I never let anyone else hold the pen. I wrote my own story. I decided who I would become. I trained. I worked. I studied. I pushed myself beyond every expectation. I did not care what others thought. I did not care if they laughed, if they doubted, if they said it was impossible. Because I had already made a decision. I would become the best version of myself, no matter what it took. Most people wait for permission to be great. They wait for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right validation. And because they wait, they never truly become who they were meant to be. You do not need permission. You do not need approval. The only thing you need is the courage to step into the unknown, to risk failure, to push forward even when no one believes in you. I failed many times. I was rejected. I was knocked down. I was told to quit, but I did not stop. Because I knew the strongest people are not those who never fall, but those who rise every time they do. People ask, "Bruce, how did you achieve so much?" The answer is simple. I never stopped becoming. I never saw myself as complete. I never thought, "I have made it." Because there is no finish line in growth. There is no final version of yourself. Every day is a chance to improve, to evolve, to reach new heights, but only if you choose to take it. So now I ask you, who will you become? Will you let the world decide for you? Will you accept the limits placed upon you? Will you live the life others have chosen for you? Or will you rise? Will you push beyond fear? Will you destroy the walls around you? Will you demand more from yourself, not just today, but every day? Because the truth is, you are either moving forward or you are standing still. And standing still is the same as going backward. So choose. Choose to grow. Choose to evolve. Choose to never settle. Because in the end, your life is not defined by what others say about you. It is defined by what you decide to become.